How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another Tressa's Collectibles gameplay video. This is going to be something that I'm going to be trying new on my end for the first time. You guys might have seen this kind of content from Simu's channel, but we're going to be covering some post-game analysis slash commentary from one of my local games at Darkside Games. So this was round 4 of our that night's locals, and I'm on camera against Jon. We are both undefeated at this point. Jon's playing Pants Standby Avatar with the level 1 Sokka into the level 3 Azula, trying to abuse the level 0 Sokka to get a very lethal final turn. And on my end, I'm going to be playing a kind of homebrew build. I'm playing level 1 Mori choice into the level 3 Sora combo. This is the English format, so this deck can use both the level 0 Sora and the Hachima counter together in the same deck. So I start off with a Noel runner. The Noel runner I really like as something that can help me get through the deck, confirm top deck information, and also is a pretty good opening play. It's also pretty crucial fix for my 3-2 Aqua Restander for Blue Splash. I trigger a choice here, and I have the option of grabbing the Sora to hand or stock. And I think about it for a bit, but the reason why I end up going for stock here is because I do have the ability to get triple Sora still if I lose one Sora, and it is pretty important for me to try to get up to 5 stock as soon as possible when I reach level 2. So I opt to go for the extra stock here. So I'm feeling pretty confident about my 3k living, and then Jon opens 2 3/5s. Those Aings get 3000 power if you have another World of Avatar, and then they also clock shoot on reverse. So I'm pretty bummed about that, but we'll see what we can do. Yeah, so right now my hand, I don't know if you guys can see it on the camera, but I have 3 climaxes. I have 2 gold bars and a choice, so I opt to clock a gold bar, and this immediately tells Jon that I have 3 climaxes in hand, because I normally wouldn't clock the Sora bar if I didn't have another Sora bar on turn 2. And I also wouldn't clock a Sora bar if it was the only climax in my hand, because I could potentially climax swap or something, right, if I really needed a level 1 combo. So this tells Jon that I already have 2 other climaxes. And then I go for Kanata Riki into this level 0 Watame. This level 0 Watame is a really cool card in the current meta right now. It's on play. I can choose a cost 0 or lower front row green character on my opponent's side and just send it to waiting room. So this has really juicy targets like this Aang here, the level 0 Ainz, Bounce Back, Fuso Yamashiro, also the level 1 Kishibe when Chainsaw Man comes out, and then various Japanese targets here and there. This locals is Japanese and English mixed format. And throughout these couple games, I did get quite a bit of value from Watame, and so I really like that card. She's also just an independently decent card if you even don't get the green pop, because she's an on reverse Rize, so on reverse we can top check 3 at 1, add a Hololive character, discard a card. So over here on Jon's side, I don't know it at the current point in time, but he also drew 2 climaxes, so he's also pretty climax flooded here. So he plays Sokka, grabs a Brainstorm, tries to Brainstorm out, try to get through some deck state. The reason why he's playing the Sokka combo over something like Toph, which is a bit more, I would say, maybe popular at this point or conventional, is because he values the deck speed of the Sokka more than the deck speed of the Toph. It is a 1 card difference, but that 1 card difference can come in handy quite well. And the Pants perhaps allows you to kind of like play a bit more standbys if you do choose to. But I asked Jon, and he did say that the level 1 Sokka is primarily there because he did want that extra deck speed. He hits 1 Brainstorm and then grabs the level 0 Aang to play, places it in front of the Watame. He did ask me about any of the irrelevant effects, so the Aang wouldn't actually denied the on reverse effect of the Watame. But he ends up going for a line in which he can keep all his characters anyways, because he doesn't want to get directed, because he's out a good amount of climaxes. I level here, go to 1-1. I originally was going to level green, but then I realized that I didn't really have too many yellow options in my hand. So I leveled the Mori. And then 2 more Moris go into my clock, and we have a good laugh about it. It is what it is, it happens. But I do go +2 because he wanted to side me. So that does do both of us a favor. He preserves his board, so he doesn't take as much dark damage. And I don't have to commit that many resources for this upcoming next turn. Clock a Sora because I already have another Sora in hand. As you see, I'll brainstorm here to pay out the second 3-2 Sora that I triggered last turn. Now that I have 2 Soras in my waiting room, I can safely go into my triple Sora line next turn. I have 2 stock. Attack 3 times will let me get to 5 stock, which is the amount you need to hard play the 2-1 Sora, pay 2 to play the 3-2, and then pay 2 to summon 2 more. So that turn 1 choice option really coming in clutch here for our level 2 plays. So even though I only have 1 more here, it's not too bad, because I did go +2 from him siding. And one of the nice things about the Sora deck is also you don't really need that much hand in the first place, because Sora is pretty self-sustaining. The 2-1, playing the 3-2 will summon 2 more of the 3-2s. So all you really need is like 3 cards in hand to play the full Sora combo. I triple attack front with a 1k1, but he doesn't actually take that much damage. He does cancel. So he's at a pretty good position now, damage-wise. On the Sokka, summons another 1-0 Sokka, and then he'll be able to refresh his deck this turn while comboing and plussing. We see in his hand that he does have the 3rd Sokka ready to go. So this turn should be pretty straightforward for Jon. He does have another standby in hand, as well as a Pants. I think he has 2 standbys in hand, actually. Okay, so he opts to go for the Aang. Gets rid of my green, perhaps to try to make it harder for me to get green for my level 2 Sora plays. That's probably why he opts to go for that Aang over the 3rd Sokka. That, and also he does already have enough mill on the board with Sokkas themselves to refresh his deck well. My Watame gets reversed, and I think about if I want to mill or not, and I do, because I need to find more green, because my hand doesn't really have clockable green. So I find a Bay, which is really nice for me. So I plan on clocking that next turn for color if needed. Okay, Sokka adds the level 0 mill 3 Aang. Perhaps can get him a free card, and also offers some additional mill. Okay, and I take this 2, which is pretty good for me. I probably am okay with clocking leveling to 2 here. I also do get a 2-1 Sora in my clock zone, so this means I no longer have to clock and level Bay. Bay is a really nice card and to allow me to potentially find more Goldbars in the future. But I end up clocking Bay. I don't level her, but I do clock her because I already have 2 Goldbars in my hand. So I figured that the other cards in my hand are a bit more important than the Bay, because the next time Bay will come up to be any useful would be the 3rd turn from now, after I've already played 2 Goldbars. So that's why I clocked that. Shuffle back 2 Soras with the level 0 Roboco, and then play my 2-1 Sora, change into the 3-2, and then we'll double pay 1 to summon the 2 other Soras, and go into combo turn. So I'm feeling pretty good at this point, because I know that Avatar won't really have the ability to challenge these Soras, at least for a bit, until he starts standbying out maybe 3-2 Azulas and like a Ty Lee. And then hopefully I can push some damage while I mitigate damage myself. so that I don't get blown out by his final turn. Hopefully be at a low enough damage count so that Azula can't kill me. Jon takes it. I think he refreshes 6. I think he told me that he had 2 standbys out. So we know that both of them are probably in his hand. And he cancels the rest. Important there that I see that he did mill, or in this damage, he canceled the Qatar anti-change. On his turn 1, he clocked the 2-1 Qatar anti-change, so I was keeping track of that the whole time. And that was why I was pretty confident in being able to front with these Soras, even after he hit level 2. So that particular turn, I wasn't too concerned about the anti-change counter there. He plays Aang. Unfortunately, he doesn't hit 3 colors, and he also mills 2 climaxes. So this turn probably is looking like a triple side. When you have 3 Soras on the board, there's probably not a lot of point in terms of fronting. Unless you really want to try for the play a 1k1 and try to trigger to deal 1, which is also a viable play. You could also leave yourself empty with a direct board so that your opponent has a higher chance of doing directs and thus you canceling. But it seems like he's just playing the standby that he held from the previous deck rotation, probably bringing out the 3-2 Azula. Yep. And we're triple-siding as expected. Alright. So resource-wise, Jon is in a pretty good position. He does have the Azula on board. He has a good amount of stock. He also has the Sokka to recover some hand or board if he does need more resources. I take a look at his weight room to see what's up, what's in his hand. Where are the other Azulas? Where are the other Sokkas? Make sure the Katara counter is still there. I draw for turn, don't really need to do anything, so I just play Roboco, give another 1k to the Sora, and play another 1k1. And he cancels on 4. Front here again for 4. Cancels on 3. And then we front here again for 4. The Sora Mori deck actually has a good amount of triggers. I think it has 22 triggers. So despite the fact that all the climaxes don't have triggers, just the nature of the Sora deck, 4 2-1 Soras, 4 3-2 Soras, and then you also have like 6 other level 3s, a lot of counters at level 2, and your Moris are also with soul triggers, means that the deck still does have a naturally high soul trigger count. And he ends up taking the last 4 post refresh. So I'm feeling pretty good at this point. Now I'm at T1, he didn't really do any damage last turn. And it is on him to get some action done here. We know that he has another standby still because he refreshed 6. First deck refresh, he played 1 standby last turn, and then he refreshed again. So this turn I'm expecting a Azula combo, but at 2-1 I'm not super scared. And I also still do have the -2 souls up. So the Azulas, they are a standby combo, so their base swing is going to be for 0+ trigger. So the most damage that will come is going to be the top deck burn 3. But with the on the Sokka effect, he plays the level 0 Yue from deck. This card allows him to give a character 1 soul when he plays a climax, so it's going to be very useful in allowing him to push a bit more damage through the Sora walls. Brainstorm hits. Thinking about another Azula. And he does go for it. Taps the Yui, gives 15 to Azula, and then plays another Azula to on-play heal, so he's going to try to double combo this turn. We'll see what he plays for the third character. It doesn't seem like he has a Sokka in hand, so he just plays a level 1 combo just for an attacker and goes for standby. He's going to trigger the Yue's on climax play effect to give the side Azula 1 soul before it goes away. Summons the Tai Li, gives front 15. And then in the following subsequent turns, if he has another 3-2 Azula in hand, he can resonate with it to deny counters on one Azula lane. I choose to -2 on all lanes. So right now, currently, he is doing 0-0-0. So he's gonna side with the Sokka because he wouldn't have done any damage even if he triggered with the front anyways. And then here he's gonna front with the Azula. The Azula here is 11 from the UA, and then on attack she gets 2k, 500 per every one of my characters on board. And then 1500 from the Tai Li, putting her up to, I believe, 9, 5, 11, 12, 5, 14, 5. 14, 5 in the mid center slot to my 12. I am holding a Koyori counter in my hand at this moment, which is a 3k memory kick. So I'm debating if I want to kick this Azula or the next Azula. Just doing some math here. If I let this Azula resolve and my middle Sora gets top decked, then I will have one less character on board, which gives Azula 500 less power. If I let this resolve, then the Azula on the bottom, or on the right lane, will have 9, 5, 11, 12k, which unfortunately still ties with my Sora. If it were 500 power lower, I could have considered just not using the Koyori counter, and then he could only resolve one Azula anyways. But since I would have to lose one Sora either way, I just resolve to kick the center lane. And then this Azula, he's doing 0 + 1 = 1. Or, no, sorry, 3 minus 2 = 1, because he gave 1 soul to this one from the UA. On reverse, pays the cost, top decks the Sora and burns 3 and the 3 sticks. So here, my opponent's at 3-0. And with a, to my knowledge, fairly compressed deck, to the point where I probably wouldn't be able to kill him, even if I force myself to level 3. I also don't really have the resources to, go to level 3 this turn. So the next best thing is to think about how to survive. So that's going to be my primary goal here, what I'm looking for. I'm going to try to go for a line that can mitigate as much damage as possible and negate the damage potential of my opponent next turn. So I'm playing assuming that he's going to get another Azula or 2 next turn anyways. He does have a good amount of stock to be able to maybe hit like a top brainstorm and just grab more Azulas back. So I end up going for a brainstorm, which I wanted to kind of just see what my options were. This turn, we will go back and review later down the line after the game is done. I will talk about kind of like my thought process about this line. But the result is I go for a brainstorm and I whiff. So here I'm thinking, okay, I don't have another Goldbar in my hand anymore. I was trying to maybe hit a brainstorm to try to find a Bay to maybe try to grab a Goldbar. So since that plan didn't work out, how am I going to survive this turn if I don't have -2 soul? Because right now the Soras are 11k to Azula's, or the Soras are 11k to Azula's 10. No, 11. Wait, 9. Yeah, I think they're 11 to 11. Wait, is it? Oh no, Azula's base 9, I think. So Azula's 10-5 to Sora's 11. Which means that I can't front into it. And not leave a character. Because as far as I can see it, if I do 3 regular swings, I can't kill him this turn. And presenting more bodies just allows him to have more lethal chances with abusing on reverse with the Azula combo. Ideally, I could crash into him with something that is also 10-5. But that's not something this Sora deck has available. So after pondering for a bit, I end up going for a line where I only attack once. I push my other Sora to the back row. And then I play over the Sora in the front row with the Watame just to crash into it, and then I swing for 2. And then pass my turn. I have a decent amount of climaxes left in my deck, so I don't activate Watame. I just with the Brainstorm, and I'm out 3. So I have 5 climaxes left in my deck. So after going through 5 clean cards, the Watame doesn't really have any need to activate her effect. So now it's my opponent's turn to see what his options are. So over here on the Avatar player's side, we could either go for a kill turn, which is probably not very likely, or we could go for a survive turn, which is just, we're gonna end the turn with a good deck state and try to heal down and mitigate damage as much as possible. He does clock for turn, presumably to try to find more resources. For whatever place he wants to do. But me presenting him with no reverse targets for Azula makes his final turn finisher, if he did opt to go for that, a lot weaker. The only way he will be able to resolve Sokka's now is with the 2/2 Azula, or with triggering standby. He hits 1 on the top Brainstorm, and is thinking about grabbing a Sokka. And he ends up going for the Sokka, so I think we're going to see either some prep or an actual final turn push. Alright, so we do see the 2/2 Azula and the level 0 Sokka going for that final turn push. And he plays the 1k1. The 2/2 Azula has the effect of being able to kill another character on attack, so this is something that the other opposing player cannot prevent. Compared to the Azula 3/2, which is an all reverse effect, and that I can do something about. I cancel the first swing, take the 3, and then heal direct with Azula, sacking the Sokka, paying cost on Sokka to summon a Momo. Unfortunately, I think the rest of his cards are climaxes. So he triggers for 5 and a standby. Doesn't resolve standby. Okay, no, the last card was a Katara anti-change. So I take this last 4 from the direct with Momo, and I go to 3/5. And my opponent is refreshing 3. Or, no, refreshing 4. So he's at 3/3 with 4 left in deck, and it's my turn with like 6 cards left. So I clock for turn for more resources. Now this final turn, we're gonna look through this final turn as it happens, and then just like the turn before, we're gonna go back to it and talk about it more. So we'll just see what happens here. I played my 3/2 Aqua, draw 2, discard 1. No, I'm at 3/6, and the only one card that heals in my deck is a 3/2 Suisei, which I opt to shuffle back into my deck with the Roboco. This will allow me to get more percentage chance to swing for 4s with my 2 Soul Beaters, thereby giving them more lethal chances when my opponent's at 3/4. And then I play a Reine to top check and salvage a level 0 or lower. I do see that it is a climax. And I grab this Mio. And then play a Mori Musashi. I play the Reine as a top check just to confirm the Aqua swing, because I know there's only 1 climax left in deck. So now that I know where the last climax is, I know safely that the Aqua can guaranteed restand. I just need to put her... I just need to not attack with her first, and then we should be good to go. 1k1 here. And so we front with the Aqua, and this is going to be for 3. Three's good. And then we front here with the Sora. Pay cost. Aqua restands. And cancels this attack as well. And then I front with the Aqua again, and this triggers 4. He cancels this. And now I have 2 cards left in deck at 3-6, and Mori needs to trigger, but she doesn't. And my opponent lives at 3-6 himself. At this point, the game is pretty much over. I only have 1 card left in deck at 3-6. So my opponent's going through the motions of what a proper last turn would look like, but realistically, he could just pass turn, and then the game would be over. But you can see how much damage potential the Avatar player still has here on the board. But this does end the game here. Alright, so this is how the game ends. And like I mentioned before, I want to go back to the last 2 turns of action that I performed and reflect on it. So we're going to go back first to the turn where I have 2 Soras against his 1 Azula. So here I'm out 3 climaxes. I don't have a Goldbar in hand. And let's see if we can fan back and see what the waiting room is. Nothing of note in particular. We have another 2-1 Koyori, the 3-2 Matsui stock swap, 3 climaxes. Even if I get the 2-1 Koyori here, the memory kick, now that he has a Tai Li, I wouldn't be able to prevent a reverse from an Azula anyways. So, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, if I can get triple Sora again, I probably am still okay. Or not even like triple, but like double. I don't think I can get the 3rd one anymore, because I'm still level 2. But I kind of go through this mentality of, we're going to brainstorm first and see what happens. When in reality, a proper line that I could have gone for, given my hand at the time, you guys can't see it, but it is a 3-2 Aqua and 2 Moris. I could have just not gone for a Brainstorm. If I had just not gone for a Brainstorm and went for the exact same line as I did here, which is just attack once ramming into the Azula, I could have had 6 stock going into final turn, which would allow me to go for double Mori Aqua. Instead, by brainstorming and looking for an out that would have been very hard to come by, I limited myself on my final turn and ended up not being able to kill my opponent. If I had prepped more as well, I perhaps maybe had a chance to hold something like a level 0 Noelle in my hand, which in this matchup is particularly strong for her ability to run away from Azulas. If I am able to open up some other slots and only have a Noelle on the board, I would have been able to deny Azula reverses as well. So perhaps if I had a Noelle to play here, I could have attacked twice, crashing into the Azula with one lane and directing with the Noelle another lane, which would still produce the same outcome of denying all Azula reverses, but I would then have 6 stock because I attacked twice. However, neither of those options were what was the outcome. I ended up brainstorming and whiffing. So now I don't have my -2 soul option online. I also don't have a way to prevent his Azulas without only attacking once. So while this turn did directly stave off my opponent from blasting me to the moon on his following turn, it did have severe repercussions on my final turn and therefore the outcome of the game. Skipping forward. So here we're at the end of my opponent's turn, end of Jon's turn. And I'm at 3-5. My opponent refreshed with 4. So at this point, I just need to kill him from 3-3. Now, I think clocking here was fine, given that I knew I had a Roboco already and a Rainy. However, the mistake I made here was that I needed to... So I played the 3-2 Aqua here. And the draw 2 discard one is also fine. Yeah, draw 2 cards. Draw 2 discard 1. So now I play the Roboco, and this is the correct order. I want to play the 3-2 Aqua first to draw as many non-level 3s in my deck as possible, and then shuffle the level 3s back afterwards. So this play is fine. But the next play... I'll let you guys think about what I should have done here for a bit, because there was definitely a better play here than that one I went for. Here I go for Rainy to confirm the top card of my deck to guarantee that Aqua restands, because I knew that there was one Climax left in deck. So I C0, so I can salvage a 0. In hindsight, given that there were still a couple of non-soul triggers in my deck, and the fact that I was also low on deck, I only had 5 cards in my deck at this time. If I attack 4 times and also trigger Musashi Burn on Mori, I would deck out and lose. So I play this Rainy here, not checking what my waiting room is, or perhaps not seeing the line, the out. I don't think my waiting room had a Roboco, but either way, the proper line that I'm thinking of is to play the Rainy over the level 0 Roboco on my board, so that I can grab it back and play her again to shuffle 2 more level 3s back into my deck. This would allow me to have more level 3s, not only for a higher chance of triggering with my characters so they swing for 4, but also for more chances of the Mori cancel burn to also be a 4. And it would also prevent myself from decking out in the unlikely scenario where I actually have to attack 4 times and trigger Musashi proc for my opponent to die. Because if you look at it on paper, my opponent's at 3-3 and he just refreshed and he's not extremely compressed at all. But he does have 4 Climaxes in deck, which is enough to survive with. Now, given this, I perhaps played... Well, I definitely played very sloppily here on the final turn, thinking that I knew the line without realizing that I had an extension to the line that I should have gone for that would have brought the chances of lethal up even higher. Even though it was already really high, I should have optimized the line, and this optimization could have made the difference between me killing him and not. So that's the result. You can see that I have 3 cards in hand here. So I had enough resources to go for another Roboco, no problem, because all I need is 2 cards in hand for the Aqua discard. Now, there is still a small chance that, like, after I go for the second Robogo Shuffle, the climax, no, I don't know where the climax is anymore when restanding with Aqua. But I think the 1 in 6 chance of triggering a climax on the Aqua is something that I'm willing to risk. And I think that con does not overweigh the pros of going for a second Roboco Shuffle back here. So now I just, I salvaged this Mio and I didn't really do anything with it. I just played the Rene for the top check effect. And the rest is as you guys can see. He cancels the Aqua swing. He cancels the Sora swing. Now, perhaps here, I could have gone for a Mori swing first. If Mori swings here and deals 4 and sticks, obviously he's dead. If Mori swings here and cancels and Musashi's 3, he's dead. Musashi's a level 3 to burn 4/4, he's dead. But assuming that we're in a world where I have to trigger on either attack, or Mori has to Musashi for 4 in order to have lethal here, because otherwise I would deck out. Fronting with Mori for 3, and then perhaps siding with the Aqua against the level 2 for 1+ trigger was a better solution than the one I went for. And at this point, I'm just not really thinking in my head anymore, honestly. Kind of just got caught up in the moment. I was like, there's no way he doesn't die here. After he canceled twice in a fat deck of 4. So I autopilot, make another mistake, front with the Aqua for 4, that cancels. And now, I have 2 cards in deck. One of them is a Soul Trigger, and the other is not a Soul Trigger. So I need the Soul Trigger to be on top, and perhaps as punishment for my misplace, the Soul Trigger is on the bottom. Theoretically speaking, if the Mori front for 3 did not stick, if Jon canceled here, I would refresh the last card in my, or I would mill the last card in my deck as the Mori Musashi burn. And if that 4 had stuck, it would actually have been a tie game, which is something interesting to think about. Obviously here, I'm not going for a tie game, I'm going for a win. A tie is basically a double loss in regionals and in most formats, so tie really isn't what you're looking for. But it's just interesting that that's how that might have played out. But regardless, he takes the 3. And that's that. So that was the game I wanted to show you guys today. It was a lot of fun. I really like these games where it's a bit more non-traditional. Trying to prevent the Azula player from denying, or from killing me straight from 2. I also wanted to play this Sora line, because I feel like Sora, in my mixed locals, had no real counters. In our locals, not a lot of people play English Overlord. In Japanese, Overlord is just neutered. A lot of my friends were also testing like Japanese Slime. New Project Sekai came out. So like there's this really popular green deck with like a green JC, and Watame could feast on the green JC. So I wanted to build a Sora deck. I wanted to try Mori level 1 with it, because I like the choice trigger, and I felt like Mori was more proactive in finding me the exact pieces I needed, which is for the most part mostly zeros. And also, if I'm in a really bad position, Mori will allow me to mill my deck and get to my next refresh. Yeah, I think that's about it. If you guys saw any other lines or any other optimizations besides the ones I talked about, do let me know. I definitely don't think that I played very optimally, and that's actually why I wanted to share this video with you guys, just to offer some more insight and kind of just explore the other lines that could have been taken here. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I know it has been a bit since our last recording, so Guilty Gear Strive, but coming up we do have Spy Family, and that's going to be a really fun set to explore as well. Alright, take care guys.